Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. Thanks for joining me today. We've got a really fun build today. We're going to take a 55 Chevy panel van, and we're really going to trick it out. And as you can see on top of the panel van, I've already drawn out some flames, but I changed them several times. But I'm going to show you how I do it, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. But while you're here, go ahead and grab your favorite adult beverage, or if you don't drink, have a Coke or a coffee or whatever, and sit back and relax with today's custom build of this Hot Wheels 55 Chevy panel van. Let's go ahead and get started. Grab your beverage, have a seat, and hang on for the ride. This is going to be a lot of fun. Let's move on with today's custom.
It's time to start the autopsy.
I've already drilled out the post, and there's only one post holding this vehicle together. We'll set that aside. It's got a motorcycle in the back that slides out when you open the rear door. I experimented a bunch of times with doing some flames on the car, and I never really did like this, so I just kept practicing until I finally got a design that I liked. Here's the rear door. I might take the glass from another vehicle and take that out. I don't really care for the yellow glass, but we'll see how it goes. The base is great and the wheels are great. We're just going to go ahead and leave those alone. And we're going to detail up the motorcycle. That'll be pretty good too. We're going to paint the interior because, hey, I don't like the yellow interior, but that's okay. That's what's fun about customizing these cars, right? And I might get rid of the yellow windshield. Let's go ahead and continue on, and we'll start with the artwork and the flames on the roof that we're going to cut out with a jeweler's saw. We'll put all those aside. Here we go. I finally did get a design I liked, and I drew it on there with pencil, and I drilled some holes in the areas with a fine drill bit that I wanted to cut out. Now I know that this is a really weird angle for you to see what I'm cutting, and I do apologize for that. Next time I cut out some flames, I'll make sure I change the camera angle. But just take your time, and you're gonna break some blades. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to any future videos that come out. Working with a jeweler's saw is a lot of fun, but again, it takes time, and you don't want to tighten up the blade so much that it sounds like a guitar string, because all you're doing is putting unnecessary tension on the scroll saw blade or the jeweler saw blade. Alright, and as we cut out the pieces, do the best you can when you draw whatever you're cutting out to make sure that what you're using and what you're doing is supported by the other pieces of the car. You don't want things just kind of floating out there sometimes. A lot of times it looks cool, but if you can get something else to support what you're cutting out, it helps you that much more. Alright, we only got a couple more pieces to cut out, so we'll get that taken care of. Let's move on. Here's what it looked like after I was done. What a good base. Now we're going to strip the paint. Let's go ahead and get it in the embalming fluid. Get it coated inside and out because we're going to do a severe color change. Knock off the excess. Put it on your tray and let it set until all the paint comes off. Now since this is kind of a premium paint job, it might take a couple of dips to get this to come off. But that's looking really good. Put it on the tray and let it set. And here's another reminder to subscribe to the channel. Best part about the subscribing is that it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And you're already here watching the video, so what's it gonna hurt? Go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button. Make sure you coat all the parts. And again, let it sit. We got it cleaned up. We took it out and we scrubbed it down with Zep degreaser. Now we're going to hit it with Tamiya Fine Surface Primer. I plan on using some Createx paint, so I want the paint to have something to bite onto. Now I could use the Autoborn sealer, but I like this Tamiya Surface Primer also. And this is how it turned out after I put the primer on there. I held the door in with some tape. That way there it stayed in place when I primed it. You could also put a little tiny drop of super glue to hold it in place too, because when you go to open up the door, if it's only a little tiny bit, it'll break free when you go to open it up, and then you can clean it up. Alright, the first color we're going to use here is Createx Sparklescent Mango. This is an excellent color. If you love orange and you like the sparkles in it, this is a beautiful color. We're going to mix it up with a little bit of balancing clear and a little bit of reducer. Just make sure you mix it thin enough to get through your airbrush. Createx recommends that you use a 0.5 needle on your airbrush when you're using these paints. Here I've got this little Badger mixer, and you can get these at my Amazon Marketplace page. The link is in the description. It helps mix it up thorough. Let it set for about 10 minutes or so, and it helps the paint emulsify and all the chemicals to mix together properly. Liable to paint the flames up too on top of the hood. I think I might take the interior out of this vehicle here. Nope, hey, that motorcycle came out really easy. But we're going to detail the motorcycle up too. That's going to be really cool. We'll paint the tires, we'll paint the engine, the tank, the seat, everything. That's going to be really cool. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the next step. We got the Sparklescent Mango down, and you need to let that set for at least an hour or so. 30 minutes they recommend, but I like to set a little bit longer. If you're going to tape anything off, you don't want that tape to peel off your paint. So let it set for a while. And heating it is really not going to do that much good, so don't stick it in an oven to heat it up. That's a beautiful color. I really love that color. Alright, I've taped off the top, and we're going to paint the bottom of the car, and we're going to use this wicked color, and it's metallic black. I use fine tape first to tape everything off, and then I cover the big area with the painter's tape. Now I also go in and I cover the inside of the windows, because if you don't, and you're spraying a different color like a black, and you've painted the whole thing white, it'll come up through the bottom and through the windshield and onto your other color, and it could affect it. So you want to make sure that you block those areas with your tape so the paint doesn't come up underneath and go to the rest of your car. Just put that tape in there like this and you can block it off. And there's today's tip from your Uncle Paulie. Alright, well, now that we got the bottom all painted off, we're going to go ahead and start kind of fading in the flames. And this is what I was thinking about doing here. That doesn't look too bad. I'm pretty happy with that. And we're going to put on some other colors also, and maybe a little bit of iridescent sparkle. I put the metallic black on the bottom and I put iridescent sparkle on there. It looks good out in the sun, but the paint job wasn't talking to me. I just didn't care for it. So I stripped it all down, and we're doing it again. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and change the color. So we're going to use this Wicked Laguna Blue. And we're going to paint the entire van that color. Again, mixing it with the balancing clear and the 4013 reducer. I normally use 4011 reducer, but I had this, so I said, you know, I'm going to use it. Then I taped off an area, and I'm going to paint the bottom of the car with a darker color. If you tape it off, just make sure that it sticks because you don't want the paint to go underneath your tape. And we're going to use this fluorescent blue. Might even mix up a little candy pigment in there too. Now this is an older bottle that I have, but it still works good. So we'll use that. Now this is what I was trying to do here, is I got the lighter blue on top and the darker blue down below. We're still going to put more dark color on it, but we're going to do some taping off first. I found this paint job online. I says, you know, I really like that, so I'm going to go ahead and reproduce it. So I put some pinstriping tape around, and now we're going to use the pearl black. I said metallic black before, but it's actually pearl black. We're going to paint the entire top of the car the pearl black. And this is how it turned out after I was done. I think it looks excellent. It just gives it a little bit more of a modern car vibe. Now let's go ahead and paint up the motorcycle. Here I'm just using some Testors paints, and we're painting up the wheels, and we'll paint the seat, and we'll highlight the engine, and this is going to look pretty good. But we're painting this motorcycle to match the paint job of the van that we did. Just the finest bit of detail on some of these vehicles and some of the parts can make or break a custom build. Now there's a lot of times I don't take the time to put a lot of extra detail in my builds, but sometimes it just screams for it. So that's why I decided to go ahead and paint the motorcycle to match the paint job of the van that we were doing. This build was an extreme amount of fun, and I really enjoyed it. That looks nice.
Meanwhile, back in the graveyard.
Now here's all the pieces. Here's the body with that beautiful black on there and the custom paint job in the blue. We detailed out the headlights and the signal lights. Here's the base. Like I said, the wheels look great, so we left those alone. We switched out the interior and the glass with another panel van. Here's the rear door. And here's the motorcycle. Man, that turned out sweet. Let's go ahead and put it all together and have our reveal. And here's what we started with. This custom Goodyear panel van. It looks good the way it is, and I do have a few of these, so I'll have at least one of them in my collection. We took it apart. We experimented with different kinds of flames that we put it on the car, that we cut out of the roof, and we painted it up. I didn't like the paint job, so I did it again. And hey, that's all it takes. If you don't like it, do it again. But this was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed doing this for you today. Don't forget, like I always say, you can do this also. If you follow the videos, watch, and if you have questions, ask them in the comments, and I'll do my best to get back to you. And check out some of my friends' video channels, like Tom over at Caliber 50 Customs, Andrew at Maple Leaf Customs. Check out Xavier at Diecast Show Customs, Paul at Fat Guy Productions. Great stuff. And here's what we got to. Look at how nice this turned out. I am super, super proud of how this turned out. I went online and I researched a couple of really cool paint jobs, and I saw this and I said, you know, this is the one for sure. but experiment with these things. Now, all the paints that I used on this car I got from Spray Gunner. Spray Gunner, they have a great shop where they sell the paints, the airbrushes, and all the other stuff to make your diecast customs look fantastic, to include the clear coat. So check that out and go to Spray Gunner and see what they have to offer, because I'll tell you what, the results speak for themselves. If you have any questions, go ahead and get a hold of the nice folks down there. Now here's a glamour shot with the motorcycle coming out, and check out that cutout roof. You can look through the flames there and you can see the motorcycle inside. That looks absolutely stunning. I super enjoyed this build. That is so cool, and this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Check out the folks at spraygunner.com. They've got a complete line of airbrushes for all your airbrush needs. They've got a really cool line of compressors to include their wonderful no-name compressors. They've got airbrush paints from Createx, which is an incredibly great brand. They've got their in-house brand called Chroma Air. I love these paints. Airbrush kits from Grex and No Name and many other manufacturers. Spend less, get more at spraygunner.com. Thanks for joining me today on Diecast Graveyard. I've got a lot more videos coming up. I'm actually on the road working at the moment, but I'm doing my best to keep content flowing for you folks to watch. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you have any questions, contact me in the comments. Thank you, and cheers.